Hello, everyone, and welcome to Full Time, where we take you around the world of soccer, locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. The Full Time podcast is presented and powered by 91 Network. You're listening to Season 6, Episode 6 of Full Time. I'm your host, Daniel Scarpino, and with me is our co host, Gitano Gallo. Before we begin today's show, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. The Full Time Podcast is sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza. With their two locations in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, you can download and access the Pizza Portal app so you can enjoy a delicious hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars today. The Full Time Podcast is also sponsored by Sioux Sports. To check out Sioux Sports and all of their articles, announcements, and streaming platforms, including True House Media and True North Radio, visit siouxsports.com as well as Sioux Sports TV on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. We remind our listeners that recordings of Full Time occur weekly or bi-weekly, and uploads to all of our platforms for public viewing and listening occur weekly or bi-weekly as well. Folks, we welcome you back to Full Time, and we hope that you are all doing well. G, on this fine morning, how are you, my friend?
I am doing good. I've been out of bed for a whole 4 minutes, so nice and well rested, and what a perfect way to start the day. How about you?
I'm doing all right, man. A great way to start the day indeed on this long weekend. In today's show, we are simply going to have an in-depth look at the summer transfer window. As always, if anyone would like to listen to our previous content, please check us out at Full Time on all platforms of 91 Network. And without further ado, Gitano, and to everyone who has taken the time to tune in here today, let's kick off. Today's show is all about the summer transfer window, and the following transfer market news comes from The Guardian. So be sure to check them out as they provide up to the minute transfer market information in the world of football. First, it's Hugo Ekitike, who goes from Eintracht Frankfurt to Liverpool for $79 million. The Premier League champions continue their summer spending with the capture of the sought-after 23-year-old striker who thrived in the Bundesliga. Gitano, it's Liverpool who land yet another player for their squad. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think he's a great addition to the squad. He's a significant step up from Darwin Nunez, who is just, you know, I don't want to say that he's flopped miserably, but he has not lived up to the hype and the price that they paid for him only a few years ago. So obviously needed some reinforcements up top. And obviously it's a really awful kind of thing, but you also have to replace the output of Diogo Jota, who is no longer with us. So yeah, just a huge signing financially and in terms of quality of player from Liverpool. Just a great signing.
A great signing indeed, and if the rumors are in fact true, and it's been reported all over the place, if they can get Alexander Isak to also sign, it's a very, very scary front two. You add Mohamed Salah into the mix. I mean, oh boy, it's a nightmare for the Premier League. Brian Mbeumo goes from Brentford to Manchester United for a fee of $71 million. With 242 appearances and 70 goals for Brentford under his belt, the 25-year-old gets his big money move. He told the press, quote, "I had to take the opportunity to sign for the club of my dreams, whose shirt I wore growing up," end quote. Gitano, this deal has been imminent for some time, it seemed, but it is now finalized. Give us your analysis, sir.
Yeah, I mean, all Manchester United transfers for the last couple of years have been weird ones because we've seen really, really good players go there, in great form, coming off great seasons, and then just United happens and they don't work out. So, kind of on paper, it's great. United have been looking for kind of an out and out right winger for as long as I can remember. They haven't really had someone who like they've had guys that can play on the right wing, but they haven't had like a legitimate guy he is just a right winger. That's all he does. So obviously adding in Mbeumo, a guy who got 20 goals, 7 assists in the Premier League last year, and started all 38 games, I should say, for Brentford. Um, Makes sense. It makes perfect sense. But again, it's just one of those things where I look at United, okay, like it makes sense on paper, but what's actually going to happen? Like when he's surrounded by the players and the tactics from the manager, like what is actually going to happen? And I can't say for certain that it's going to work out in any way, shape, or form. And again, it's not. I don't think again the players' fault. I think it's just more of just a Manchester United issue than anything else.
Very well said indeed. And you just wonder what's going to happen with Manchester United. In addition to Mbeumo, there's already rumors about Benjamin Sesko possibly going there. And now, believe it or not, Donnarumma to be going between the sticks, possibly for Manchester United. But those rumors are also swirling in addition to the Isak one that we just mentioned for Liverpool. But like you, Gitano, I agree that there have been players that have gone to United in recent years, haven't necessarily done so well. So very interested to see what happens with Mbeumo here at United. They'll be expecting him to score goals, I'm certain of it, and bring them forward. Next, it's Luis Diaz, who goes from Liverpool to Bayern Munich for a fee of 65.5 million. The Colombian won 4 major trophies during his 3.5 years at Anfield, having been signed from Porto by previous Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. Gitano, what does this move mean for Diaz and for Bayern?
Well, for on the Liverpool line, I'm shocked they let him go. Only 28 years old. One of their kind of, I wouldn't say first name on the team sheet, but he definitely wasn't far behind Mo Salah in terms of being a regular in that squad. Um, and for a fee of 65 million, it's not that it's not that they gave Bayern a discount, but I don't think Bayern paid the premium they maybe should have paid for Luis Diaz. Like, definitely, could have gotten a little more money if I was Liverpool. Like, I would have wanted a little more than that from him. But for him, he's going to the best team in Germany, one of the best teams in Europe. And not that Liverpool's not one of the best teams in Europe, but a perennial Champions League contender. So he's kind of staying at the level that he's playing at. The rumor is that he got a massive pay raise, so can't argue with that there. And I think he goes into a Bayern team. I don't think it's not that he doesn't have that type of competition at Liverpool, but I think at Bayern, the wings have been an issue for them for more than a handful of years now. So I think he's going to go there and he's going to start every single game that he is fit for. Obviously, they lost Leroy Sané this summer. Kingsley Coman's not ever kind of been the guy for Bayern Munich. So I think he's going to go there and just kind of have a little bit more of a permanent spot in the team. But yeah, it's just kind of a great transfer all the way around, unless you're Liverpool, who I think could have got a little more money out of him.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a huge win for Diaz for his career. I think it's a huge win for Bayern because they got a top player, to your point, that can play on the wing and do very well. And for Liverpool, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a win for them because you lose a fantastic player, but with the business that they've done this summer, I would say that they've compensated for it at least a little bit. Victor Osimhen goes from Napoli to Galatasaray for 65 million. Galatasaray smashed the Turkish transfer record to complete the stunning permanent signing of Osimhen. The striker scored 37 goals on loan last season. Gitano, it seems like a no-brainer for Galatasaray and Osimhen. Is this the perfect match?
Oddly enough, yeah. I don't know where Galatasaray gets that kind of money. We haven't seen the Turkish league make a signing, kind of this, fee for. I can't even think of the time any time they like a Turkish team spent over like 40 or 50 on a transfer, let alone what they're paying for Osman now. But he clearly loved it out there. He was also very clearly done with Napoli. But yeah, so 37 goals in 41 appearances in all competitions. Just yeah, makes perfect sense. He's very clearly comfortable there with everything on the field, off the field. Just a really, really no-brainer transfer.
Yeah, that's the way that I coin it too. A no-brainer. It just makes perfect sense, and I'm sure with that sort of goal to game ratio, I think he's going to do very well indeed. Victor Gyökeres goes from Sporting to Arsenal for 64 million. After 97 goals in 102 games in Portugal, the former Coventry frontman completes his blockbuster move and will wear the coveted number 14 shirt. The striker signs on a 5-year deal. Arsenal finally got a striker. Can hardly get the words out. Unbelievable. What are your thoughts on this one?
Like most Arsenal transfers, I'll say my little bit and then give you the floor. But yeah, I think he's going to bang goals. Again, just a no-brainer. Just they needed somebody who could, he doesn't have to be kind of a Harry Kane like all-around technical wonder striker. Just needs to put the ball in the back of the net. That's what he does. So yeah, great transfer. But the floor is yours. I'll let you discuss a little more.
I appreciate that, man. It's again, these discussions were going on for the better part of like 8 months. It's been a long time that we've sort of been linked with the player. I'm just so happy that we actually got an out and out number 9 in the team. Haven't had one in the Mikel Arteta era in terms of one that he's actually signed. We had the likes of Alexander Lacazette, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, two guys who I really loved in Arsenal kit. But at the same time, they never really cut the mustard with Mikel Arteta because the squads at that time, 3, 4, or 5 years ago, just weren't quite good enough. Now Arsenal has a very good squad, adding depth to it. I'm hoping that the business isn't done this summer. I'm hoping for another one or two signings to come through the door. But I think that this bolsters Arsenal's way that they're going to play because now they have an actual focal point up front. So I'm elated with the signing. And again, he's everything in terms of a striker that you'd probably want. I mean, you can attest to it with Erling Haaland. They're not the exact same player, but they do have many similar attributes: size, strength, speed, and just the overall want to score goals. There was an interview that Gyökeres did, and he said, "I don't care if I score tap-ins. The goals are the same as if you score from outside the box." So I like his mentality, and I'm hoping that he's going to do well for Arsenal because, I mean, we've been talking about it on our show for basically 2 years. We've needed a striker like as bad as any team could have needed a striker. So I'm really happy about this one, Gitano, and I hope that he just hits the ground running, and I hope that the squad does as well. Matteo Retegui goes from Atalanta to Al Qadsiya for 56.3 million. After the best season of his career, which yielded 28 goals in 49 appearances, the 26-year-old answers the lucrative call of the Saudi League. Gitano, is this move purely about money, or is there something else here that you and I are missing?
No, this is the Saudi league looking around for kind of in the top goal scorers. He had 25 goals, 8 assists in the Serie A last season with 32 starts. This is basically just the Saudi league throwing money at kind of a top goal scorer. And again, it's one of those things like you just can't argue with it's like generational wealth that they're getting out there. Yeah, just can't argue with it. Obviously, would have liked to see him stay in the Serie A. Probably better for his shot at playing for the national team, staying in Serie A. But like I said, you just can't say no to that type of wealth.
No, and with that kind of money comes, like you said, it's very difficult to say no to that, isn't it? But that was my biggest question. How's this going to impact his, sort of ability to be selected for the national team? I don't know if it does tremendously. Obviously, new manager coming in, these sorts of things. But yeah, I guess we will see. But with that kind of money on the table, how could you say no, Gitano? Dan Ndoye goes from Bologna to Nottingham Forest for 34 million. The Switzerland international, who has 22 caps for his nation, arrives in the Premier League after two impressive seasons at high-flying Bologna. Gitano, we don't have it here in the segment, but Nottingham Forest was able to retain Morgan Gibbs-White. Now they add in Dan Ndoye. Some really good attacking prowess here. What is your analysis on this one, my friend?
Yeah, I don't think he's quite he's not going to set the Premier League alight. Only 24 years old, plenty of time for him to kind of grow into that role. But 12 goal involvements and 26 starts in this area last year is nothing to be shy about. That is a really good return. Coming to the Premier League now, he plays off the left, which I think Forest have been kind of missing a little bit of width. They've been very kind of direct in their attack through the middle, so giving them a kind of a different outlook. I think this is a great signing.
I think this is a great signing too. It improves the way in which Forest can play, and under Nuno Espirito Santo, they can be a little bit more diverse, and they're going to need that because they also have European football this upcoming season, which we can't forget. So again, a very good signing in my opinion. I'm on the same page as you for sure. Francisco Conceição goes from Porto to Juventus for 27.8 million. The young winger joins the City A side on a permanent deal until 2030, having spent last season on loan in Turin. Gitano, I personally love this deal for Juventus. I think that they have an amazing talent on their hands, just a super, super player. I rate him highly. But what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Spent last season there on loan, 6 goal involvements in 12 starts, featured 26 times, which the numbers maybe aren't the best, but he's only 22 years old, so plenty of time for him to kind of grow into that. And again, we've seen him put up some output already there. So just kind of as time goes, that output's going to grow for him. Great deal.
Yeah, I think his ceiling is ridiculously high, and I think that he's going to do incredibly well at Juventus. And I think that for his national team, he's going to find himself doing very well in the years to come. James Trafford goes from Burnley to Manchester City for 27 million. The 22-year-old goalkeeper joins or rejoins, I should say, his former club as they use the matching rights clause in the previous sale. G, your Manchester City are staying active in the market. What are you saying about this deal for your club?
I love this deal so much. So a handful of years ago, when he was sold to Burnley, um, I was a little disappointed. He's a very highly rated. Well, at the time, he was a highly rated prospect, but there just wasn't really a pathway into the first team for him with Ederson, with Stefan Ortega. Um, so he just had to go for that game time. Um, so to see him come back a couple years later, took the like his kit numbers number one, which I think is a statement of intent. He didn't come here, come back to City, I should say, to sit on the bench. He came to be the number one. Um, yeah, it's just huge. You look at the amount of clean sheets that have followed him across every team at every level that he's played at is ridiculous. He's been fantastic for England at the U21 level. Um, to me, it's a no brainer that he'll be England's number one. Maybe not immediately, but I don't think it'll be too long before he is. I expect probably within the next 2 years he'll get a senior call up. He's just an incredible keeper. He's massive. I think he's like 6'6". Like, he is a huge guy. Shot stopping is great, but also can play with the ball at his feet, which is kind of key to Pep's way to playing. Uh, the rumor is that Stefan Ortega is going to be leaving at some point this summer, so probably this season he'll be kind of our cup keeper, learn the system, learn from Ederson, and then when Ederson's deal runs out at the end of next season, um, he will be the number one. I love this move so much.
Well, you just answered both questions that I was going to have. Is Ortega likely to leave, and how long before James Trafford gets that number one spot? But you answered that perfectly. And Gitano, we don't have it here in the program as well, but I'm pretty sure this was a club record transfer fee for Burnley, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty amazing for a goalkeeper, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah, it's a record sale for them. And City, they do smart business. They put these, whether it's like being able to match bids or just outright buyback clauses in a lot of the player sales out of the CFA. And then say, like, everyone kind of knew James Trafford was a very highly rated goalkeeping prospect. It was just at that point he needed to go. He needed to play games at a higher level. He wasn't going to get it at City. So yeah, you send him out. I think we only sold him for maybe 20 odd million, but you put that buyback clause of, I think it ended up being 35 ish with some like bonuses and other things in there. Like, just a great deal. You see, and again, you see City do this all the time, and it's nice to kind of see the CFA model working, where a player get sent on loan for a little bit, they sell them with these kind of clauses, and then when the player's kind of good enough and the squad's ready for it, bring them back in. Yeah, I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, I think this is what we call playing the long game, fruits of labor, patience, all of these sorts of things. And now it's sort of coming to fruition in the case of James Trafford and your Manchester City. Sam Bukema goes from Bologna to Napoli for 26.9 million. The center back, age 26, joins on a 5-year deal after completing the third most passes of any defender in Serie A over the last 2 years. Gitano, is this a good move for the player and the club?
Yeah, I really like this move. He's obviously established in Serie A for the last couple seasons. Joined Bologna in 2023, and has just been solid for them. And been maybe not kind of a flashy player in their rise in the last couple seasons, but been very quietly the kind of foundation of what they've been doing. So yeah, I really like this transfer.
I do too. I think he's going to fit incredibly well in that Napoli side, and I think he's got a spot to hold there, and especially for the way that they're going to play. Joao Felix goes from Chelsea to Al Nassr for 26.2 million. I'm here to have fun and win together, said Felix in a press release after signing his deal to the Saudi League. The former Chelsea man joins compatriot Cristiano Ronaldo on a 2-year deal for an initial 30 million fee with 20 million in add-ons. Gitano, I hate to sound rude, but for the ceiling and the expectation that Joao Felix has had over the years, I think he's been drastically underwhelming. And again, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Maybe it's a bit rude, but that's honestly how I feel. What does this move even mean?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I don't think he ever. played kind of for a manager in a team that really suited who he is as a player. When he was at Benfica, he kind of had a little more of a free role to, and mind you, he was like a teenager at this point, but he was allowed to kind of free roam and kind of sit in pockets. And if he wanted to drift wide, he could drift wide. If he wanted to he could do what he wanted to do. When he went to Atletico Madrid for, I think it was what, 120 million in that ballpark, like he was not a Diego Simeone forward in the slightest. And it's been all downhill from there. I think his confidence is just gone. Kind of his reputation is gone. He's never really worked out. He never really played, since his Benfica days in a system that really suited him. And we said when he signed for Chelsea last season, why were they signing him? There was no point. I'm not surprised in the slightest that he's ended up in Saudi Arabia at 25 at this point. Just yeah, and I don't think it's entirely his fault, but I'd say it's a 50-50 thing. Like he's got to go to a team where he is going to be comfortable and going to have that kind of role that he's looking for. Hopefully he gets it here. Maybe couple seasons of decent output in Saudi Arabia gets him to move back into Europe. But yeah, I would say definitely disappointment considering the hype around him a few years ago.
Yeah, and you know what? With this move, the thing that pops to my mind is this a move that's going to reignite his career and get him on that path, like you said, in a couple years' time, maybe to get back to Europe? I have my doubts, but remains to be seen. Young enough to do it, no doubt about that. But again, has been underwhelming, at least in my opinion, for sure. Igor Paxeo goes from Feyenoord to Marseille for 26.1 million. The in-demand winger scored 18 goals with 14 assists last season and moves to the French side for a club record initial fee of 30 million. Gitano, do we have a superstar and a super move in the making here?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not think that way when you look at his underlying numbers. It just seems like I've said this a handful of times now in this show already, but just a really, really great move. Just almost a no-brainer. I love it.
Yeah, it seems like a good match there, and again, the hype is there, the sort of expectation is there. We'll see if it can be met on the pitch. And finally, David Hankel goes from Feyenoord to Atletico Madrid for 26.1 million. Having won the Eredivisie and the KNVB Cup in Rotterdam, the 27-year-old center back joins Diego Simeone's side on a 5-year contract. Gitano, it's another move for Atletico. Does this move bolster their squad even further for the upcoming season?
I really, really like this move. So not only is he a fantastic defender as a center back, but he's an incredible chance creator. And just he drives offense from the back. An incredible passer as well. It's really something we haven't seen Atletico Madrid have. Their center backs, like when I think of an Atletico Madrid center back, I just think Diego Godin, 6'8", just monster, just snapping guys in half, winning aerial duels. So I think having kind of a little bit of a different look from a center back is going to be super, super important for Atletico Madrid. We've seen last year they were not super close to challenging for the title, but they were kind of on the outside there. I think this definitely drives them a little more forward, gives them a little more of a different look, a few more options for how they play, and definitely is a fantastic move. I really do love this one.
Yeah, me too, man. I couldn't agree more. And the word that springs to mind for this move is versatility, for the way that Atletico Madrid can play. And I think that they will become more versatile as a result, no doubt. And Gaetano, we did not cover each and every transfer that has occurred so far during the summer transfer window. Are there any that we missed that caught your eye as of recent?
So I've got two actually. So first one is Evan Ferguson on loan to Roma. Very young player, had a couple good seasons in the Premier League, and then has had a couple rough ones. But going to Roma under Gasperini, who has just, if you look at his track record, even when he was at Atalanta and a couple of his previous clubs, he's just able to just supercharge the forwards output. So I think for Evan Ferguson at this age to go there, we've already seen him in their preseason. He's already been banging in goals. I think this is a fantastic move for him. Someone who to work for a manager who just is known for getting the absolute best out of forwards, which is funny because a lot of his forwards, you think of Joseph Illich at Atalanta, they were a lot kind of older. So for Gasperini to kind of light this fire under a super young striker, I think it's going to be fantastic for them, for the club and for the player. And then also it was announced yesterday, Heung-Min Son is leaving Spurs, going to MLS. I forget exactly what team it was for.
I think LAF
But
Gitano.
sorry.
I think LAFC.
Oh well, of course he's going LA.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Inter Miami, so whatever. Um, but an icon of the Premier League, a pain in my ass. Finally going. He always had a goal against City every single time. Um, and I said to myself that I would never give him the credit until he was done at Spurs. So yeah, fantastic Premier League player. Captain Spurs to a European trophy, which is a phrase I never thought I would say. Um, yeah, going. It's going to suck. The Premier League is going to be worse without him. He's just been a fantastic player. But at 33, it was time for him to move on. He achieved as much as he could, if not more, at Spurs. So yeah, those are my two. You have any?
I do, yes. Christian Mosquera to Arsenal to get started with, sort of backing up the already two fantastic center backs that we have. He's certainly going to get a lot of game time, not just to play in cups. I think he's going to get valuable game time in the Premier League as well. So a very good young center back that we got at a very reasonable fee. So I'm happy about that one. And then sort of a feel good one for me, former gunner Lucas Podolski. Probably people didn't think that he was still playing, if you could believe it. He's going to be 41 years old pretty soon, heading into his 23rd professional season of his career. Just unbelievable, Gitano.
I remember the '06 World Cup when he was like a young player of the tournament, scored a couple bangers. Like I remember that very, very well. So fantastic to see that he's still playing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's playing out in Poland. So those are my two. And yeah, there's been actually a lot of moves, to be fair, over the course of this summer, Gitano, and all the rumors have just been unbelievable. I know we can't say it until the summer's over, but to this point so far in the summer transfer window, I've personally never seen one quite like it. And I've been enjoying all the chaos, and I'm sure that you have as well.
Yeah, I would say there's less like huge money, like $100 million deals, because a lot of really smart business for the first time in a long time.
Yep.
Um, and not smart business in like nobody's spending money, but like the money being spent has been really really good. Like we haven't there's been very few times where we've brought up a transfer and been like, I don't know if it's going to work. Like the only one I can think of is so far is Embuemo to United, and it's really just a United issue. It's not a player issue. So yeah, it's been a really really fun summer so far, and still a handful of weeks before it's over.
You said it, man. Absolutely agree. And as the summer transfer window progresses, you can get all of your major updates throughout the summer right here on Full Time. This is Daniel Scarpino and Gitano Gallo, and you're listening to the Full Time Podcast on 91 Network. A reminder that Full Time is sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza and Sioux Sports. Check out the Pizza Portal app for a quicker, easier way to get your next hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars. And be sure to check out Sioux Sports at siouxsports.com and Sioux Sports TV on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Full Time. As we bring today's show to a close, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to all of you. A big thanks for tuning in. G, nicely done this morning, my friend.
You as well, Scarps. Like I said, to kick it off, always a great way to start the day. It's a great way to start the weekend. Talking the beautiful game with you. Looking forward to the next episode.
You and me both, my friend. A great way to start this long weekend. A reminder to our listeners that the next episode of Full Time will be recorded the week of August 11th, 2025. In that show, we will take a look at the summer transfer market and we will preview Europe's Big Five for the upcoming season. As always, we'll keep everyone in the loop with all of the happenings in the world of football. For weekly content, make sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe to all platforms of 91 Network on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Podbean, and Spaces at suittoday.com. For Gitano Gallo, my name is Daniel Scarpino, and thank you for tuning in to Full Time. We look forward to seeing you at kickoff next time back here on the Full Time Podcast and 91 Network. Best always.